we have made progress in our country. I know things look bleak, but we have made progress. And some people would even say that we've made progress because there are more women of color in politics, more diversity, in politics. And so today I'm focusing on identity politics, and one of the people that come to mind about identity politics is one of our favorite here at the show, Kamala Harris. Let's go ahead and watch this.
I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past, but the future.
She is a powerful speaker, ladies and gentlemen, powerful. Now, The View had some comments to make recently about Kamala. Here we go with Whoopi. And Whoopi is naturally funny. FYI, she is naturally funny. All right, here we go.
Kamala Harris, the Washington Post says the Biden team is trying to boost Vice President Harris's image. But I'm trying to figure out, why do they think it needs boosting? What?
Okay, why? It's as if Whoopi hasn't paid attention to the why, right? I mean, it's crazy. Here we go.
Well, I'll get right in there. So listen, the vice president, when she came on the ticket in 2020, I was thinking game over. She is a rock star. I'd seen her in Senate hearings, super effective, saw that prosecutor side of her come out. And listen, they won. She helped deliver female voters, black voters for the president. It's her time in office that I take a bit of issue with. And having worked for a vice president, you kind of have two jobs: do no harm and try to keep a higher approval rating than your principal.
Okay, really quickly, I don't know if you know what this means. I couldn't figure it out. A higher than your principal? What did that mean? Do you know what that means, Anya? Did she misspeak? Right, like a higher rating than your principal? Like, I didn't understand what that meant.
Does she mean that she gets a higher rating than Biden?
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
I think that's what she means.
Okay. All right. We'll continue with this. And, so Alyssa is a woman, and she seems to be challenging and criticizing Kamala Harris, her lack of skills in this position. All right.
She's not really been able to do either. And I feel like she hasn't broken through on major policy accomplishments. And she will, fairly or unfairly, be the most scrutinized vice president in history because she's running with the oldest president running for president.
And she's also a black woman.
But I think you have to be able to fairly critique the vice president of the United States.
Yes, I agree. You should be able to fairly critique the vice president of the United States. Why not? You can't critique her, because as a woman, I'm not supposed to be, questioning her, what she's doing. What has she done? Okay.
No, I mean, honestly, if that's the question, I'm sure that I could find more qualified or more competent black women within a mile radius of where I'm sitting right now than Kamala Harris. That's not really the reason why people don't have confidence in her.
I agreed. Here we go. But I think Sunny Hosen would disagree.
It's without just saying it's the color of their skin or the fact she's a woman.
But it is part of it.
Why? What makes you say that?
Well, we're in the United States of America.
But with someone like me saying it, do you think I could have a legitimate policy objection?
It's not you. It's just we're in the United States of America, and black women, and this is just not me saying it. I mean, there have been studies. Black women are considered less articulate. They are considered uglier. They are considered all of these things
beautiful,
by this country. And it's because of the history, of course, of misogyny and
But it's also
sexism.
just women. I mean, Jerry Ferraro back in the day ran for vice president, and they went after her too.
And that's the misogyny part. But when
okay, so my issue with this part is, where she's talking, that's misogyny, and, there's a history of racism. Okay, check. Got it. You cannot dismiss that Kamala Harris is now in a position of authority and leadership. You can't dismiss that.
You can't dismiss the fact that although she is the vice president for a geriatric it's honestly sad. Someone who I think a lot of people believe should be in some sort of elder care rather than the Oval Office. And yet she, as a much younger person, not necessarily a woman, doesn't even seem like a better option from when she gets in front of the camera, or when she goes on tour. It's not that much better. She doesn't give that much better of a performance than a president who some people joke is actually, or honestly believe is suffering from dementia. I mean, she has lowered the bar. If you are a woman of color, you should be insulted or you would be, if you're not collecting $1 million something salary to host The View, you are insulted by the idea that Kamala Harris represents the best among us. And women, Eartha Kitt, so many Black women in history have been extremely admired and demonstrated that women and Black women are capable of anything anyone else is, and that they're just as intelligent and powerful and deserving of respect as anyone else. Kamala isn't that person. It has nothing to do with her gender. It has nothing to do with the color of her skin. It's just what happens when she opens her mouth.
Well, and you know what's interesting is Sunny isn't capable at all. Sunny isn't capable to articulate any point of success that Kamala Harris has succeeded in.
No.
None at all.
No.
All right, let me go back to the clip. Stand by. All right, here we go. Okay.
Mix
fact,
the
Barbara
misogyny
Bush
and
called
the
her a name.
racism.
I'm sorry.
It's extra. It's a little extra, but I understand why they are boosting her at this point, and they want to boost her because no Democratic nominee can win the general election without the Black vote. I mean, that is just a fact. And when she became,
and Barack Obama lost a lot of voters that were Black. So I guess, Sunny, instead of saying that they can't afford it and they have to put forward a candidate that looks like them, how about the Democrats put forth policies that reflect the needs of the people? That's what Sunny doesn't seem to understand. That
vice presidential candidate, I have a picture of all the women from the Divine Nine strolling to vote because of her.
Right.
And so I think that she probably, in many respects, won that election for him. And so Black voters saved his campaign in 2020. They could also be why he loses it in 2024. And so that makes a lot of sense. Now, in terms of doing...
besides, just that saying that they're going to lose their support, why? What has the Democratic Party done for the American people? What have they been doing for my brothers and sisters?
Harm or, Vice President Pence,
Ukraine.
No shade,
Right.
but I think
A lot of shade. Come on. There's a lot of shade.
There's some shade.
Go for it. What do you do? What's it?
I'm trying to be a little even-handed. He was responsible for the administration's COVID response, and we know how well that went.
Well, but real quick on that, I could off the top of my head list 3 major accomplishments of Vice President Pence. The U.S.-Mexico agreement, our trade policy that was
Who are
negotiated.
you talking about now?
Vice President Pence.
Oh, Pence.
Operation
Yeah.
All right, Joy reminds me of me because I'm like, who are you talking about right now? Do you ever feel like that in conversation? So I get it. It's funny that she does that live. Like she just doesn't just sit and figure it out for a second.
Speed, which love or hate the COVID response, we all have the vaccine now, and that's a good thing. And he did get Republicans' tax reform. I know as Democrats you don't think those are wins, but those are things that he accomplished. I struggle with the vice president. Why is she not front and center on Dobbs? Why hasn't he given a major speech
Well, she
on it?
has.
She is.
Well,
going to
what
be the
she
one-
said that-
but she is the one who's going to go after these anti-abortion people.
Right? Not anti my body, my choice people. They can't say it anymore. Democrats
No.
can't say my body, my choice because they were all in on the mandates. They were all they couldn't wait to force people to do what they thought was the acceptable in the best interest of my community.
Can I just say that I love this idea that Mike Pence is responsible for getting us the vaccines, and Mike Pence really oversaw. No one actually believes that Trump or Pence or anyone, maybe Fauci, I don't know, was responsible for that. It was a deep network of entrenched deep state bureaucrats and World Economic Forum trained functionaries in our government that all came together to deliver us the COVID response. I don't think Mike Pence really had much to do with the fact that we developed the vaccines when we did.
Oh my God. Why do you hate Pence so much? Okay. Are you a racist? What's wrong with you? Right? That's how people talk right now. You don't like somebody, you're a racist. You don't like somebody, you're misogynist. You don't like somebody, you're a sexist. How about they're not delivering for the American public? All right, let's continue this clip. I think I have about a minute left.
Which is really the crucial element and why the Republicans will lose again.
Well, the thing about the vice presidency is it is riddled with it's a losing job. It's always been a second spot that gets the hardest.
Exactly.
No,
not for Cheney.
Because he was actually the president.
He was President Cheney.
Yeah, but it was like a behind the scenes type of thing, and they hid him away. With good reason, probably, but
not enough.
It's a hard job. It is always ridiculed, but my issue actually, and I understand what you're saying, Sonny, about there's definitely no way to look at this without
Sarah's very diplomatic here. Here we go.
Adding sexism and racism to a lot of people that probably take issue with her. I'm not erasing that. As someone who also has a hard time listening to her do speeches because she has this tendency.
I love this. Here she goes. She's gonna wind it up, and then we're gonna see a clip.
They call it the word salad, but where she starts to almost, I don't know if she's going off script and ad-libbing or improving, and if that's the case, she needs to stay on script. If it's her speechwriter, they need to change the speechwriter, because when you're 2 years in, they need to protect her more.
Yeah, clip.
Well, I don't need to I was using that clip to show it, and I think everyone's seen it. When she starts to, we'll just show the clip then. It's
the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously. During Women's History Month, we celebrate and we honor the women who made history throughout history.
She's reading a prompter.
If she's reading a prompter, they need to immediately fix that. You are the vice president of the United States.
Fire the people that are writing for her. Or is she just bad at what she does?
The administration and the president are responsible for protecting her.
Well, I would add that as a lawyer, you're generally told when you're speaking that you speak in threes.
And generally, I'm going to give you an example right now, a bad example.
You're so
threes.
highly trained. Wow.
Right?
Impressive.
You speak in threes. Here we go.
Because that's what people remember. So if you're going to talk about a car, you talk about the car, the red car, the fast red car. So I think what you just...
Killer example.
Pure
example.
poetry.
The definition in the word in the definition.
So I think a part of
Little
that
red
is
Corvette.
that. But again, we can't compare her with the likes of Pence.
No, there's enough criticism to go around.
Can I get
Dan Quayle?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because, first of all, Trump is the king of word salad. And if he had the words, he has maybe a vocabulary, I would say, of about 75 words.
Of course.
Okay, so he's running for president.
Also a problem.
And then I was watching Ron DeSanctimonious, as he calls him, and talk about not saying anything. Or just watch this.
Instead of saying Ron DeSanctimonious, why doesn't she say Ron DeSantis, who was helped with the torture of people? Why doesn't she want to talk about that? If she wants to really talk about Ron DeSantis, why does it have to be so condescending? All right, let me have her finish up, and then I'll have you comment.
Why is right now the time for Ron DeSantis to run for president?
Because everyone knows if I'm the nominee, I will beat Biden, and I will serve two terms, and I will be able to destroy leftism in this country and leave woke ideology on the dustbin of history.
Wow. What does Yale University take anybody these days? Yeah. He went to Yale. He will destroy leftism. Really? That's a lot of people in this country.
General election.
Like leftism isn't destroyed.
And he will get rid of wokeism. You know what? I am woke.
All right, Anya, what are your thoughts about watching, this brain trust discuss this issue about, Kamala Harris and saying that you can't compare to Pence or to Cheney or to, any past vice president?
I mean, you can't. I'm not a Cheney fan. I'm not a Pence fan. In fact, I would prefer Trump to either of them. Like Pence, it represents everything that I loathe about the Republican Party. He's the traditional Republican Party that it's like operating in a different century. And now he's betrayed Trump, and it's very clear that all along he was not really working in the president's interest. But I'm just going to be honest. When I listen to anybody else speak, they can finish a sentence. Kamala, she cannot get a thought out. And I'm not even convinced that it's her speechwriters, because she just has this affect, whether it's a speech, whether it's a debate, I've seen her questioned on the street, like in an impromptu kind of video. She always has this dazed, goofy, loopy attitude, and it's not endearing. It's just not an effective way for anyone to communicate. And I don't totally know what's going on there, but it basically seems as though the strength that she and Biden have between them is that she has this identity as the Black woman. He's this longtime career politician, Democratic Party player, but they both have something in common, which is that they seem totally empty, totally absent, gone from their mind, out of touch with reality for whatever reason it is. And so there are other people behind them that are obviously making the big decisions and pulling the big levers. And really, even the clips that they showed there of Kamala, it doesn't capture it. Pretty much every day, if you just follow her social media, it's one post like that after another where she is just out of it. They could not even send Biden or Kamala around the world as like a respectable representative of U.S. diplomatic power or anything throughout most of their term. They were not. I saw her recently, actually. She took a trip to Central America. That was her first thing at the beginning of the Biden administration's term. And she went and told everybody there not to come. She basically said, don't come to the United States, even though we're laxing special immigration status for Venezuelans and Nicaraguans, and not relieving the sanctions and the war and everything that is causing the mass exodus north. Right. Forget about that. She just said, don't come here. More recently, I saw her in Africa. She was on a trip to Africa, and she started, it was like an NBC or ABC news report I saw, and they were highlighting the speech that she gave while in Africa, and she was saying, Ron DeSantis has outlawed the teaching of African-American history in the state of Florida, as if anybody on the African continent related to that or even cared what she was talking about. It was like she was so just it was like a campaign speech in Africa. And so it's just an insult. People are tired of it. This doesn't work anymore. And by the way, what Ron DeSantis is doing, where he runs around being like, I'm going to fight the left, and playing into this politics that it just doesn't exist anymore. People do not fall for those left-right divides. I don't think they don't think that politics has delivered us anything. Mm-hmm. They're interested in people who go beyond those labels and that frame of reference and language for understanding what's happening around us, and talk about the issues and actually describe or can say what they're going to deliver or what their plan is for how to improve the lives of people. And it goes right back to what we were just saying about AOC, because she's doing the same thing.
Right. Well, it comes right down to this. I want people to deliver on their promises that they said during their campaigns. I want to make sure that my brothers and sisters in America are being taken care of, because there's a lot of hardworking families that are struggling right now. And it's time to lift them out of that poverty. And it's time to take care of our country and the people in our country. Anya, I want to thank you for coming on today, and we look forward to seeing you in the future, pal.
Yep, I'll see you soon. Looking forward to seeing you in Baltimore.
That's right, at Magoobies. All right, adios.
Hey, everybody, only $10 to go see my new stand-up special, COVID Lies Are Funny, at jimmydore.com, and come see us do a live show. We're going to be in Cohoes, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Bakersfield, California, Baltimore, San Francisco, Huntington Beach, Rosemont, and Chicago, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, And more. We're going to be in New York, Stamford, Connecticut, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, San Diego, everywhere. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all our tickets.